The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip.
And I'm CJ.
And it is Wednesday in the Riv after a Clowncil meeting.
And I want to apologize for our streaming viewers. Chip had a meeting, so we had to start a little late.
Yeah.
But he made it as usual. He's like the post office. Neither rain, nor sleet, nor snow, or dark of night.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, it was an extremely long meeting, retirement board meeting, but it's, we had to do it. We had our report from Prim about the investments telling us that, obviously the situation is bad, but, Prim performed fairly well in comparison to most other things, but it's still a disaster. But I don't have to explain that to the people in this economy. And I apologize. We had a couple of evidentiary hearings, which means people get sworn in and stuff. So, hey, it is what it is. But you got to do it.
Got to do your job.
You got to do the job, and
you weren't the only one that had a job.
that's right. So it is what it is. But the council meeting, I'm getting a lot of feedback from the council meeting, and they gave it, according to my sources. They gave an easement before they even voted. They haven't had a vote yet.
Right.
The people of Fall River, but the people of Fall River are insignificant.
As was demonstrated by Brad Kilby.
We don't care.
Yep.
We don't care. People don't care. Brad Kilby has his own agenda, always has had. Mm-hmm. When the city was in financial trouble, he wanted to spend millions of dollars on athletic fields, and he got it done. Mm-hmm. They don't care. That's why they all got to go, virtually except for Michelle. And then they give an easement before we said it, and then they try to pass a resolution that encourages supporting the rail.
Right.
I guess they all forgot when in that chamber. You're not entitled to promote your opinion. You're there to represent the people. And you've got no business, in my opinion, to tell the people of Fall River how you want them to vote. Let them collect their own information and make their own decision. You politicize this, and you prove that politics and all your rich friends come above the people of Fall River. The hell with it. This whole thing is an exercise in futility. They don't care what we vote. They're going to make sure they get this thing no matter what.
Right. Right.
So it's like,
and we've heard that more than once.
Damn the torpedoes,
yep.
Full speed ahead. We're going to put a resolution to tell you how to vote. What are we in? Are we in Nazi Germany? Are we in Russia or China? The Proletariat Bureau is going to tell us how to vote. We're gonna recommend. We're gonna put a resolution. We're gonna encourage you. And if you don't do it, we'll do something really drastic, like maybe throw you in a gulag or something, or harvest your organs. This is the worst government Fall River has had in my lifetime. I have never seen such a bunch of rubber stamp head nodders. We've brought the school department over here, and we're running it like you just keep giving out jobs, keep giving out pay raises, keep screwing the budget up. And they're already desperate for money.
Right.
They're already desperate for money. Because there's no money already. And that's with opera money in the budget. They're shuffling around looking for ways. People are bailing out left and right. But what do you get? You get our politicians giving us the two middle fingers and the two middle toes. Mm-hmm. Like, we don't care about you. Then we have your favorite counselor, Laura, the psychobabblist. What is it? No, it's not psychobabble or psychosomatic or psycho.
No, psychobabble.
Psychobabblist. I like that. With another one of her great observations. I heard she made the great comment, well, if we don't move forward,
We go backwards.
We go backwards.
Yep.
Really? That's not true. Who's the we? I guess her and Paul like to say we a lot. Mm-hmm. Well, I guess we is
They got a mouse in their pocket.
is her and the turd in their pocket. That's the way I learned that, colloquial expression. Because she doesn't speak for everybody. She
speaks for Laura, Linda, and Paul.
She's supposed to be there representing the people and giving the people information and voting in the best interest of the people. She wants to rail, and that's fine. If you don't move forward, you're moving backwards. No, you're not. If you don't move forward or backwards, you're standing there.
That's right.
And then you have to break the inertia to move in either direction. And who says not having a rail is moving backwards? How about all the people that abandoned the city to go out and live in the country for a more pastoral life? But they don't count because our elitist city council knows better. They know what's best for you, working people of Fall River. Shut up, try to pay your rent and buy food in this economy, and let all the people with big salaries and rich friends tell you what's good for you. That's why you're going to see a giant red wave in this country, because the rest of the even in Rhode Island, looks like Fung might take that seat.
Yeah, it does. It looks that way.
First time in a while. The people are finally waking up. They're getting they're getting their heads removed from their posterior.
It's a shame that a suitable Republican didn't run against Auchincloss. I'll tell you now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a shame. It's a shame when I see a ballot with no.
You notice he hasn't
contenders.
shown his puss.
No, he hasn't.
Because he's not. He doesn't have anybody running against him.
Exactly.
So now he's forgotten where Fall River is.
Exactly.
His GPS is broken up. Christ, he spent more time in Fall River than you and I did.
Yeah.
When he was running against somebody, and how much he loved Fall River. He was like Paul's wingman.
Yep.
But now he's running unopposed, and it's like, the hell with the trash.
The hell with the poor and
That's right.
insignificant.
Who cares about that?
That's right. Well, what was very interesting about that meeting last night about the resolution, they made a compromise again with the compromises. Okay, and they said that we recommend you support.
But they're not supposed to do that as counselors.
And Michelle Dion said that. It is not, she goes, I'm not a no, I'm not a yes. This is not our job. And as you said, your job is to represent the people of Fall River, not your twisted, convoluted ideas. That's not your job. And if you keep forgetting that, go back to the Constitution of Massachusetts and read it. Read what it says. You are our substitutes. That's it. So your opinion means nothing.
And who are they answerable to?
To us.
Oh, that's right. But what the hell? It's only the Constitution.
That's right. It's like Paul. Who cares about the law?
Only when it benefits them.
Right. And and I'm sorry. And I spoke to Michelle about this last night after her meeting, and I said you should have used your right to object.
And you are. I agree.
Okay.
I agree.
And she said, well, after they made the compromise, all it would have been was me just being an ass if I would have objected. I said I still would have objected.
That's not. No, she wasn't being. That.
Right.
She was doing her job.
Right.
Because I don't care what compromise it is. You got the president of the council, Joe Camara, saying, I don't see this as being not being a suggestion. No, you're saying, why don't you support it? That's not a suggestion, right? I mean, these people are they're incredible. They're absolutely incredible.
Isn't it amazing how they can twist their own words to sell you a pile of crap?
Oh, absolutely.
It's like they should be with Paul Schmidt shoveling it, okay? Because Paul Schmidt at least has a farm, so he's got to shovel it. He's got a dairy farm.
And speaking of our friend Laura, wasn't she talking about one of her selling points is the train's going to create more housing?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay. I hope somebody shows this episode to Laura, because I'm gonna, you know, I'm gonna take her out of her Oz. She's either in Oz or she's down the rabbit hole in Wonderland, because she has no clue. She is so out of touch making some of the statements she makes with reality.
You want to know how out of touch with reality she is? She thought she was in the Senate, in the U.S. Senate. She goes, I want to yield my time to the person in seat 6.
Oh, well, yeah, so there we go.
Okay, she thought she was in the Senate. That's not how it works. And Joe had to tell her that's not how it works. And then she said, I don't know if I can say this.
Well,
and he says, you can say anything you want. But when Michelle tried to say anything she wanted, shut up.
That's right. Well, okay. So, Laura, I'm going to give you a dose of reality. We keep talking about the regular people. You have no clue about the regular people in Fall River. About working people who are trying to make a living, pay their rent, keep up with inflation. This article is from New Bedford. Dozens of New Bedford tenants scramble after buyer gives them notice to leave. Now, Joe Quigley, sitting in his living room, he's a retired school teacher, so he's not a guy that's like got nothing. I mean,
Right.
He's a school teacher, so he's he's got a pension. He's worked his whole life. New Bedford tenants of a 24-unit building are scrambling to find a new place to live after a developer bought the property with the intent to renovate it and hike up the rent. Joe Quigley, a 72-year-old retired teacher who lives in the brick complex at 189 to 193 Elm Street, sees his predicament as a classic case of gentrification. With the completion of the South Coast Rail on the horizon, he thinks developers are getting ready to welcome a wave of Bostonians. I guess the Bostonians aren't going to look at the giant drug bust they just made in New Bedford.
I know, $1.2 million.
That's right. And this is a quote. The city is getting all set for new people to come in and enjoy the beauty of New Bedford, but it's the people that, this is the important, listen to this, Council of Washington. But it's the people that kept New Bedford from dying who are getting displaced.
Same thing in Fall River.
Truer words were never spoken.
Same thing in Fall River.
But why not fix this building up for locals? Well, because they're not going to make enough money. Then it goes on to talk about his rent, which is $795 a month, and it is going to more than double. So,
Which is what we've been saying all along.
And you did the numbers.
That's right. I did the numbers.
And they don't want to hear the numbers.
That's right.
Now, those numbers don't count.
That's right. That's because I did them.
Only their recommendations and their suggestions.
Right.
Follow their suggestions. This is not going to have any negative impact on Fall River.
No.
But I'll tell you what, there are a lot of Joe Quigleys in the city of Fall River.
And let's be real. Mr. Quigley is 72 years old, which means he was a teacher going back a couple of decades.
Yeah, when they actually had
When
an
they actually
educational
taught.
system that actually taught.
Exactly, which was effective. He doesn't have a big pension.
No.
A lot of those people that go back a couple of decades, and you know this.
Yeah.
You're on the retirement board. You know. He's probably getting about $25,000, $26,000 a year, if that.
If that, yeah.
So what's he going to do? What's he going to do when his rent goes up to $1,500 or $1,600?
Yeah.
You know, he's not going to be able to afford it. And yes, people from Boston will be able to afford it because they're right now paying $3,000 and $4,000.
That's another delusion. They're not coming.
But you know what? In New Bedford, they might come. Because look at what New Bedford has. New Bedford just started shooting another TV program. They've had 2 national, and this will be the 3rd national program that they're taping now from AMC. They've had 2 from Showtime. You remember the one with Drugs on the Cape? The Provincetown story there? Remember that one?
Yeah.
Okay, that one they filmed there. They filmed other programs there. So right there, they've got the TV and film industry. They've got restaurants, more than just Portuguese restaurants. They've got seafood restaurants. They've got Italian restaurants. They've got Portuguese restaurants. They've got Chinese restaurants. They've got Japanese restaurants. They've got Brazilian restaurants. What do we got in Fall River? What do we got in Fall River? Portuguese.
That's it.
And we got a Brazilian grill now up on Pleasant Street, but it's not like the ones we're used to. And, you know, we have the small Chinese restaurants that we have all over the city, nothing like, but New Bedford has some of those long-standing old Chinese restaurants, you know, where you walk in.
Yeah,
And,
there's one down near Fairhaven. I forgot. I used to go.
yeah, well, there's also one on, is it Ashley Boulevard or Cushnet Avenue? There's a couple of them there. And they're decent Chinese restaurants. And because they're old-fashioned style Chinese restaurants. They're not these, you know, what I call strip mall Chinese restaurants. Stick them in a strip mall and that's it. You know, they're in a box and they have no seats, no nothing. I mean, around here we've got the Oriental Pearl, which is in Westport, which is the closest thing we've got to an old-fashioned Chinese restaurant. But this is why they won't come to Fall River, because Fall River does not have a nightlife.
Yeah, well,
New Bedford has a nightlife. New Bedford has a theater. New Bedford has nightclubs. New Bedford has restaurants. New Bedford has culture.
Yeah.
New Bedford has art, museums. Where's all that in Fall River?
Yeah, not only that. Listen, CJ, even if they had all that, you think somebody that can live in Boston is affluent? They're not going to go to. They're not going to go to Fairhaven or Swansea to the market rate housing and drive 5 minutes to the T or 10 minutes to the T. When they're going to go to places that are loaded with drugs. New Bedford's better off than we are, no doubt. They have a lot better. You know, they have a lot more upscale city. But this is what they said. You know, sales have pushed Quigley and dozens into what's already an extremely tight rental market. These people have nowhere to go, and they don't care about these people. And the reality is, listen, these things with Boston, these are all projections. Oh, they're projecting this, they're projecting crap. They're going to come down there. They just made, like you said, a multi-million-dollar drug bust, fentanyl, all kinds of cash. In New Bedford. New Bedford's always had problems. You got Weld Square in New Bedford. You know, it's always had issues. But Fall River, crime, underperforming schools. Forget about the restaurants. You're taking the T. It's like you take the T down here. You're going to get off the T. What are you going to do? In all of these cities, they got to bring their car here. If they're going to move down here, they got to bring their car.
That's right.
And if they bring their car, it means they're capable of driving from Swansea into Fall River for the T, where they're building market rate housing, or from Fairhaven into New Bedford to take the T. These people they're doing everything with them is speculation. It's going to do this. It's going to do that. These are all speculations, hopes, guesses, just like urban renewal, gentrification. This is how many times have they tried gentrification? That's what Mr. Quigley said. And putting labels on it. Gateway City. Well, look how much being a gateway city got us, and we've been a gateway city for decades now.
Right.
But nobody cares. See, the bottom line with all this, take all the crap away. Oh, they're going to open up all this stuff. No, they're not, because when they open up, they have to make money to stay in business, and there's not going to be enough of them here to, like, open up 1,000 stores and all this stuff. It's BS.
And let's be real. If they've got to bring their car here anyways, what's to prevent them from going to Newport?
Yeah.
Or to Providence, or to Hyannis, or the Cape, elsewhere on the Cape, because they've got their cars.
Didn't somebody just get shot in a car?
Yeah.
In Fall River?
In Fall River, over by the hospital.
So let's advertise that, Paul. Let's get them on. Come on. Drive up near the hospital in your car that you drove down from Boston. You didn't take the T because you got to get your car down here if you're going to live here. And maybe you can get your car shot up.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. That's where they all want to go. They all want to. These people who are living in affluent areas of Boston, they have no desire to come back down here.
And there are no affluent areas in Fall River.
You know, and there are no areas that'll suit them. The people who live in the Back Bay and go to the Esplanade. Look, let's get this down, boil this down to the real simple truth. They don't want us here. They don't want poor people here. They don't want average people here. They want to, in their delusionary mind, they can take this and turn it into Newton. They've always wanted this to be Newton or Martha's Vineyard. We saw how much Martha's Vineyard wanted poor people when those immigrants got there, the illegals got there. They couldn't get them
24 hours, they were gone.
Couldn't get them out of there fast
24
enough.
hours,
They don't
dude,
want
gone.
them. Like that newly elected congressperson from Texas said, they only want to see them when they've got a leaf blower or a mop in their hand.
That's it.
They don't want them living with them.
Right.
And they've made it pretty clear. So, look, you're going to have to, we got to call Mr. Quigley and tell him. We've already had some suggestions from our Fall River elite. Maybe he hasn't get it. He's trying to look for an apartment in a tight market. But we should give him some of the tips that we got from all the people that know what's good for us, like Laura Washington. If we don't move forward, we're going to move backwards. But we're not going to break in.
Well, we could always use Ken Fiola's
yeah, but
mantra.
remember,
Move to New Bedford.
well, Ken, move to New Bedford,
Move to Brockton.
move anywhere, just
Yep.
get out.
Just get
you
out.
Can't afford it, just get out.
That's right.
And my favorite of all time, Malone, moved to Russia.
Yeah,
I bet you can get an apartment for a few rubles over there.
that's it.
Yeah, Joe, but you have to speak Russian. It's a very difficult language to learn. I have been told one of the most difficult languages to learn. But see, this is Fall River. Now you look at your little changes, and you say, do these people, are they representing me? And if you think that, you're crazy, because they don't even know who you are. They have no idea about the life you live if you're an average citizen in Fall River. If you're one of the people living in an apartment that's paying $700 and some now, and it's going to go up to 15, and that's the majority of people and these people are merciless.
Right.
This developer told them, they got till that particular date, till the renovations are over, and then they got to get out or the eviction proceeding will start immediately.
And once you get an eviction on your record, you can't get an apartment
Yeah.
because all the landlords now are pulling
Yeah.
the eviction records.
And you're going to be immediately evicted. And they want you out so quick, they said they will give you 2 months' rent toward moving your shit out
Yeah.
of there, right?
Yeah.
So they don't care. Look, they don't care about these people. They're the invisible people. Like I said on the last show, like the Dylan record, you're invisible now. When you got nothing to lose. And there's a guy, and look they think that everybody's like some kind of subhuman that's not worth even considering. That's what they relegate you to. This guy was a school teacher. He taught children his entire life. That's a fairly well-respected job, a profession. Being a school teacher was looked upon as a highly professional job.
Yeah, it was.
You're teaching the children. You're molding minds. Being a teacher. But I guess they're not worth it anyway. You don't have the money, beat it.
Well, it reminds me of New York. In New York, when they're converting a house from apartments to co-ops
Yeah.
or condominiums, you get first right of refusal on your apartment, okay? If you don't buy it, you have to leave. And what the developers do is they will pay you to get out faster because it takes a long time and a long process to get them out when you're making a conversion. And they will give you $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 to leave because they're going to make that back and more. It's the cost of doing business. That's what it's sounding like here, and that's the sad part about it. I got to take us on a different way
Go
now,
ahead.
okay?
But I want you to hit Kilby a little bit.
Well, I'm going to hit Kilby right now because
Okay, good.
I mean, what he did was, I think it's unethical. Colin Dias said it was unethical. Nelson Vasquez says it was unethical. Nelson Vasquez went so far as to show them the article on Boston.com showing them that the rents will be increased even more. Okay? So yes, we have high rents. But the rents are going to go up even more than that. So imagine that for a second. But Brad said no. It's our responsibility to tell the people how to vote. It's our responsibility.
He should be immediately thrown out of that seat because it's not his responsibility.
No, it's not.
You don't tell the people anything; they tell you.
Exactly.
That's what the Constitution says.
Right. And the thing that really got me going was, and they do this all the time during citizens input. Everyone else has something else going on during citizens input, except for Michelle. Michelle will be looking at her paperwork, and she'll be looking up, and she'll be listening, and you know it. Okay. On occasion, Sean Kadim will look up and be listening. Leo, I don't know. Andrew Raposo, he was definitely a disappointment last night. Definitely a disappointment last night. And I'll tell you now, for him to turn his vote over to vote for those appointees of the mayor says he doesn't have any backbone and he doesn't represent the people. Those appointees were shot down once, and the mayor didn't even think to change them. He just resubmitted them. So the city council had no backbone whatsoever.
After they made a deal.
Because somebody cut a deal, and I guess it was Andrew who cut the deal because he flipped his vote. He flipped his vote. Yeah. So, I mean, that's the way it is. We only got a couple of minutes left, and I want to bring this up. Did you see the article in the Herald News? It should improve unity and morale. More EMS crews moving to Fall River Central Station. The only thing left at the Central Station will be one pumper and Rescue 1.
Well, look, that unity and morale is a bunch of crap.
Yeah.
We don't have enough time left.
No, we don't.
But I can tell you, on Friday's show, if you want to ask me...
I got a lot of questions I want to ask you.
About this, unity and morale. Unity and morale, well, let's all have every firefighter in one station, you pack of morons, because it's about response time. That's why you have stations throughout the city, to maintain proper response time for safety. You're going to stick all the ambulances in the central station and they're going to run all the way down to North End?
Yep.
You know what that's going to mean? That could mean life or death. That's the short version. I'll get into it more. These people, that is a propaganda arm, and all you do is listen. There was no reason to separate this because they said they were going to become part of the fire department, which would mean less supervisors, but this is all about giving all these people with the big money jobs. Because I'm going to tell you another little secret. We can't keep paramedics in this city, the people who actually do the work. Because I'm going to tell you something. You think you're going to work in Fall River carrying people 250, 300 pounds down 3 deckers, down 3 flights of winding stairs in an apartment in Fall River, when you can get the job probably paying as much, if not more, in a community with all single-family houses. The only people that stay in EMS, and we've had a constant problem with it, because we heard about raising their salaries to get them, are the people who are in the supervisory positions.
That's right.
That are not doing a damn carry.
That's right. That's right.
So this is all about money and their friends who they put in those positions.
That's right. And we know that one of the people who's in there in the supervisor position was related to a former chief.
Yep.
Okay? So we know nepotism runs rampant in EMS. There's no question about that. And, you know, I have a great deal of respect for the paramedics that are on the road, that are, you know, on duty. Yeah. But for the supervisors, I have no much
They got a tough job. I worked the ambulance. I carried a few monsters down the stairs. But that's the job. You respect the job. But you don't respect the giant bureaucracy that it created like they did in the school department. Welcome to the school department 2.0 under Paul Coogan.
The Cooganite administration. Well, I want to thank you all for watching. Remember, stay safe, stay angry, and hold your politicians accountable. We'll see you on Friday.